What's up? We're back.
Back for season 10. Season 10.
Of Pot Smoking
Can you
Moms.
believe it?
I can't believe it. But here we are. I am your host, Sunny D, along with my homie.
I'm Captain J.
And we're the Pot Smoking Moms. We are very happy to be here. We got a really great show for you today. If you enjoy our show, do us a solid and rate, subscribe, share, review. Leave a
All
little
those good
comment.
things.
Yeah. And potsmokingmoms.com is our website. And you can pretty much find anything we talk about, anything we do there. Please visit our website. We got something to smoke on. We hope you got something to smoke on. If you don't, you want to grab it. We got a little smoke sesh.
Let's go.
Our smoke sesh is sponsored by Fluent Cannabis. Check out our website, potsmokingmoms.com. You can click on the Fluent Partner link to set up your rewards. And that way, whenever you go buy some bud at Fluent, you get a little kickback and you get to cash in on those rewards.
Make that purchase count.
Hell yeah. What do you got to smoke there, Jay?
I have some original blueberry. So previously known as Blue Note. It's a well-rounded indica-leaning strain with traits that are sure to satisfy your senses. From its praised purplish hues and its blueberry muffin smells and flavors to the fast and long-lasting body high, this strain is an instant favorite for all indica-leaning enthusiasts. So, of course, that's why I bought it.
Exactly. This here I have is a hybrid. It's a nectar. Enjoy the sweet stickiness of this hybrid strain to feel refreshed by its calming effects. Patients say nectar helps to relieve ADHD, chronic pain, stress, depression, and more.
Right up your alley.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, exactly. I could smell the limonene in the strain. So
yeah, this smells amazing too. Cheers. I needed that hit. It was quite a little mission trying to get this show started, reacclimated to the studio. It's been a few weeks.
The Wi-Fi's. It's the Wi-Fi's.
Yeah, dude. I need a direct line into this room. Ooh, that tasted great.
Yes.
Hit the spot.
We got a really fun show for you today. Well, not so much fun as more of like
informative.
Informative. We got someone who shares their personal experience with us and who's also using their experience to help others. Stephanie Shepard, she's a partnership manager for Last Prisoner Project. And before this interview, I didn't know that she was convicted of conspiracy to distribute 1,000+ kilos of marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And
10 years in federal prison.
Yes, as a first-time nonviolent offender, Stephanie was sentenced to 10 years in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. She tells us all about it in our interview. I mean, think about it, like being locked up. That's a long time to be locked up,
and for your first time ever getting in trouble.
Yes.
So you're going to want to stick around for that interview. It's great. And she talks about the Last Prisoner Project, where she works now, and the different things that you can do to help other cannabis prisoners.
Yes. So stick around for that interview.
Definitely. So special thanks to our patrons. And we have a new patron. Welcome, Rena.
Yay!
Yay! So you can become a patron and you can watch this episode on video, only available to our patrons. Check out our website where you can see how you can support us on Patreon. You get additional perks, not only like videos, but we have a great Discord chat where we all get together and smoke regularly in our voice channels.
Yeah, and you could totally be seeing me sport this beautiful blonde hair right now.
Yeah, Dia's hair grew exponentially.
Yeah,
and is very platinum blonde now.
Yes, I'm looking very not like myself today. And if you're a patron,
You're
you
still
have
in
the
the
pleasure
Halloween
of seeing
spirit?
that. Yes. Hey, if you can't become a patron, you can contribute monetarily. That's fine. We also thrive off of your support when you rate our show or review it, or you share our podcast with your friends or your neighbor.
Share it on social media.
Share it on social media. Hey, and if you do that, hit us up. Let us know. We will send you stickers and we will shower you with our affection and love.
It's really important you guys sharing our stuff because this is really the only place we're not censored. If you think about it,
Yeah,
we're censored on all of our social media platforms, but
yeah,
here
I'm
we
on a
could be our
TikTok.
true, authentic selves. We
Exactly.
can blaze with you guys.
Right. Yeah, my talking about that, my TikTok is in a
You're in
last
trouble,
strike.
right?
Yeah,
because
it's in
I
a
went to
last
go look
strike.
at it and our link isn't there, and I was like, oh, they took your link off and everything.
Did they?
Well,
I didn't know
see
that.
I didn't see a link on your on the page because I went there to try to copy
Oh,
the reward
oh,
link, and it wasn't.
really?
Yeah.
Well, my thing has a little permanent thing. Well, it's permanent only because they removed it once, and as soon as they removed it, they threw it back on there. Account. It's got like a red account violation thing on it. And
You
like
in
it's
trouble.
yeah, I know, constantly.
TikTok
Account warning, account warning.
Account warning.
The link is there. Maybe it wasn't showing it while I was in jail, because you know what?
That's what I'm saying.
They
Maybe it's there
dinged
now.
me. They took a video down and then I appealed it and won, and they didn't restore my privileges. So I hit them up. I was like, "Yo, what's up? You didn't restore my privileges, but I won the appeal." Of course, you know
it's there now.
some
It was
bullshit.
not there before.
They probably take all that shit down while you're like
In trouble.
while you're on a timeout.
Timeout.
Yeah,
Bad.
seriously.
Don't do that.
I hate it. So be here and come here to see us, because this is the only place where we don't get community guideline violations, okay?
Exactly. So another place where you can come see us actually is our Bud Crawl event that's happening really soon.
Yeah, happening next weekend.
By the time this episode airs, it's this coming weekend. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
This airs tomorrow.
Oh, no, you're right. It's next weekend.
I'm like, damn, dog, please don't tell me it's this weekend, because I'm like,
You're gonna die.
I'm going to die.
Well, yes. Come see us in Orlando. Go on a bud crawl with us. We're going to be visiting a few dispos, eating some delicious food at Chiba Hut.
We're going to be singing fucking Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Yes. Playing games.
Hey, you know what my favorite part is when people buy tickets is they put the karaoke song they want and their favorite munchie.
Yes.
But anyway, it's gonna be lots of fun. We're gonna stop at Move, Liberty Health Sciences, probably True Leave, and, you get all kinds of cool stuff. So please, if you're
Come
in
hang
the
out with
Orlando
us.
area, or hey, look, we're gonna be staying in the Orlando
And we've been getting a
area.
lot of questions about like, hey, I'm a patient, but my spouse isn't, or my friend isn't, but they really want to come and hang out. If you have a friend that you want to come with you, we're making exceptions in that case, that you don't have to be a patient if you're like a guest of a patient,
right? As long as one of you is a patient, and and we can actually find the doc for you too. If you're not a patient, approvals are really fast. Like if you see a doc, you can be approved and
within a couple hours.
Yeah,
or
you
less.
you could start
sometimes.
shopping right within like 45 minutes to an hour usually.
So if you're in the Orlando area and you are interested in getting your patient card, let us know. We know a clinic out there that will see you and see if you qualify, and you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey man, I'm glad to be back here. Actually,
our giveaway winner.
Yeah.
That's right. We did a giveaway for the bud crawl.
We did a giveaway for the bud crawl. We hope you signed up.
And the winner is S Nieves 548
We will be hitting you up
in the DMs and letting you know.
Thank you so much.
You got a ticket for you and a friend to
Yeah,
come on the bud crawl.
Yahoo! So as we've been like busy getting all that shit together for the bud crawl,
we still have life happening.
We still have plenty of life happening. Way too much life happening sometimes. This past weekend was really fun though because we got to do Halloween. Yeah, and that's our favorite
time.
Yup. And
the Halloween party was back.
Yeah.
First time in over 2 years because of the pandemic.
And let me
we
tell
had
you,
new friends there. Whole new friends.
We had
some
new
pot
friends.
smoking moms.
We had a lot of fucking pot smoking moms in the house.
Was it four, right? 4 of our patrons.
Yeah.
That came to the party.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Right? 4. Yeah, because Jesse was there too.
Oh yeah, he's 5th. No,
is he 5th? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lauren, Yanni, Christy, Jenny, and Jesse.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I brought Jenny, and I almost left without her. I was like, "Bye, guys," and then I look at her and go, "Oh, hey, you're coming with me." Duh.
Oh, and we were super surprised by our friend Lauren coming. That was a beautiful surprise.
Yeah, she flew over 20 just to stay here for 24 hours to come to the party. Luckily, the party was off the chain because it's
it's my Halloween parties.
I know, but like everybody showed up. And we haven't seen a lot of our lately. A lot of things have been happening, so we haven't been seeing our friends
though.
Huh?
We were missing a couple key friends in our OG friend group.
But it was a lot of friends recently that we've been, seeing and stuff. So very cool. My kids, my oldest did the trunk or treat at school, which is cool because I ended up
not having to do Halloween.
Huh? Yeah. First of all,
the door-to-door.
Yeah, the door-to-door thing. Exactly.
They didn't notice you guys don't get any trick-or-treaters?
No. And my sister today was like, "Oh, I didn't give any candies. By the time I put the lights on in my house, nobody came by." And I'm just like, dude, unless everybody on that street is showing that they're ready and open for business to give trick-or-treaters
they're
candy.
Gonna walk by your house.
Yeah, you're not like, why would I go to a dark fucking block where nobody is inviting you to come and get candy?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm a big fan of the trunk or treat, especially for the littles. It's contained, it's in the open. People go all out. I mean, a lot of these trunks, dude, one of these trunks they did, and I was like, this is elementary? Like, who watches this here? It's the parents. Stranger Things.
They did Stranger Things.
They did the Max in the air with the clock. It was amazing. Yeah, I
saw the pictures you posted.
It was amazing. And it's funny because I was like complimenting the lady, the mom, and she was like, I have no life. And we were laughing because we're like, we love it though. This is like amazing. We would, we would do this too. We have no life as well. We love the Stranger Things.
Nah, I went to my new favorite spots at Trick or Treat, and now I have a hack.
The same one that you went last year?
Yes.
Okay.
And I went and I got better blocks this time.
Oh yeah.
And there was a lot of people and
there was
a lot of houses that went all freaking out. There's this one house that I was so envious of.
I love that.
I looked at that house and I was like, this is what I want.
They had, what did they have? All the inflatables and shit everywhere?
They had these crazy huge, they had a huge werewolf one that was massive, super tall. Then they had a huge skeleton one. But they had eyeballs that were animated.
Blinking,
they did things they had they were projected on or something. I don't know, but it looked insane. And then they had these huge jack-o'-lantern pumpkins that just looked so wicked and huge. And they had these faces. Oh my God, it was amazing. That yard, I was just we took a few pictures in front of it and I was like, this is what I want. I wish. I was like, where do they keep all this stuff?
Yeah, that's
because there was a lot of stuff. And I asked, I was like, where do you keep it?
What is she in the garage? What did she say?
No,
I can't believe you asked her.
I was like, geez, how could you store all this possibly? I guess her
because
job, she has space for that, her office. She said her office. I don't know what that meant, but what?
That means she owns a business.
Yeah,
and she has
a warehouse space or some shit.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's the rich neighborhood in Miami Lakes. So
Right. So they get the
or
full
not the richest
size.
neighborhood of Miami Lakes,
the
but
full-
like the nice neighborhood where
Listen,
everybody participates.
Every neighborhood here is every Miami Lakes neighborhood is usually like,
Well, we have a friend that lives there, our friend, and I know we never thought of it before, but we turned on his street, and Johnny's like, "I'm just gonna call Hector's parents and see if we can park here."
Oh, true.
And we knocked on the door. He
It
just
was
tried
his-
to call. He tried to knock on the door, but they didn't have candy, so they didn't answer.
Uh-huh.
So he just called Hector, and then Hector's like, "Oh yeah," his parents were cool with it. They're like, "Just don't knock on the door because they don't want other people to be attracted because they don't have any candy."
Yeah. After a
But
while,
so I was like, yes, now I have a parking spot in that neighborhood. I never thought
You're
to hit them up
She
before.
has a map. She made a whole map where she's like, okay, this is where we start,
And right on their street, there was already a couple houses that were all out, like outside,
Decorated.
having all the music and all the stuff. And
I mean, see, that's inviting. Like, you and that was what we did. Like last year, we had parked in the pumpkin patch and then gone through all those houses back there. But the school did a trunk or treat. We did that. It was fun. I ended up realizing that an old neighbor of ours, I thought he had moved. He's related to someone I used to work with who I'm like still friends with from another job.
mm-hmm.
And his son is in first grade. So it's like, oh my God, you guys come here. He's like, yeah, isn't this school great? And I was like, yeah, I really do love it here. Like, and my daughter was in love. She was like, I love this. It's the greatest day of my life. I was like, oh, great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So she enjoyed the trick or treat. Oh, and then they did on Monday. So that's what we did instead of like going out to trick or treat. She got to wear her outfit. We were Ninja Turtles. We were all Ninja Turtles. And I mastered the face painting for the Ninja Turtle face. We did a little green face with a little mask and stuff. But she what was I gonna say? She wore her costume to school Monday, and they did like a little parade.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cute. She was like dancing around and stuff, and then they had their little party. And I was like, we have enough candy. We're good.
Oh my God, we have so much candy, and my kid does not eat candy.
Oh my God.
He only eats Hershey bars and M&Ms. You want to know how many of those he got? A total of 3. Damn. All the other candy is everything else but that. And I'm like, how is that possible?
For real. Yeah, no, my kids are like addicted, especially the little one. And I have gotten into major fights with her of like, no, you cannot have any more. You cannot have any more candy. It's too much. So, I'm going to have to I'm going to have to eat it all or set it all on fire.
It's kind of mean.
The Jimmy Kimmel.
The thing where you tell your kids you ate all their candy. Yeah. Like, I got really hungry.
Yeah, I know. I told Robert.
She would flip out, huh?
I mean, probably. I would flip out if somebody told me that.
I saw somebody post one of their 2 kids were like, that's okay. If I would have eaten all that, I would have gotten a stomach ache.
Oh, and I was like, good kids. Yeah, you're like, damn, kids are cool. I'm gonna steal your kids, dude. Yeah, no. Yeah. My kids are like, give me the candy, lollipops, and I'm just like, bro, I'm gonna burn all this candy now.
You gotta hide it, and then you have it there little by little when you need it. To soothe.
Listen. Yeah, the candy thing, when I was younger and I would bring leftover food from whatever I did and my brother would eat that shit, I would fucking explode. I would fucking get rage. So that I get that the kids, if you fucking say the thing with the candy, of course they would freak out. It's like someone eating your fucking leftovers from Cheesecake Factory.
My God, I'd be pissed if my parents said they ate all the candy.
Right. But shit, they cannot eat all that candy. I can't eat all that candy.
Well, Halloween sounds like it was a success for you guys.
Yes.
And the party was a success. I got funniest costume.
Very good.
With my Argyle.
Yeah, from Stranger Things. That was a good one. He's a good character. He's very friends of the pot smoking mom.
Yeah, totally would be friends of the pot smoking. And I was like, being a dude all night, kind of sitting like a dude, pretty much like people would laugh at me.
Pretty chill.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm just like a dude. I could be just like
pretty chill.
Yeah, it is. Other than that, I had my brother's wedding in New York, which was awesome.
Oh, yeah. You got to talk about how you acquired the dupage out there.
So I did the bad thing that you're not supposed to do and took some with me. But when I got there, I was like, oh, I forgot it's legal here. And I looked and there was like, oh, there's dispensaries not far. I can smoke more than I think I can smoke.
Oh, and then you smoked too much.
I smoked too much. And then I was like, whatever. And then I go to check the dispensaries again and realize they're only medical dispensaries that are in that area. The closest recreational dispensary was like over 40 something miles away. I was like, oh my God, I am not going to go 40 something miles to get weed. That's insane. So, tried Telegram. Didn't have too much luck there.
It was a little shady.
Yeah, it was a little shady. I don't know. It's a little weird when you don't know the person. I don't mind sending money to to people that I know on the internet to get something, but somebody I don't know, I'm a little more apprehensive. So I decided to just, put a call out through our network
to send the pot signal,
the bat signal, the pot leaf signal.
I love when people hit me up and they're like, hey man, give me Florida. You know anybody? And I'm like, I don't know anybody. And then like I send them some people.
Yeah, I just like put it up in the stories. Hey, I'm in this area. If anybody knows, where I can get some weed, they're like, hey, I'm 30 minutes away. Fan. I check their account. I'm like, yeah,
we
follow each other.
Follow
Okay,
each
cool.
other.
All right.
Especially
met
in New
at
York.
7-Eleven. Like
that's why I was like thinking, especially in New York, we got a lot of people out there.
We actually do have a lot of people that follow us in New York. So yeah, that was cool. Got some weed and I was able to smoke out, my cousin and my family.
It was some
friends.
good shit too.
Yeah, it was good weed. It was. Thank you if you're listening to the podcast right now and do that podcast. They said they were interested in doing a podcast. Him and his wife came to see me. They're both really chill, nice couple. Do the podcast if that's what you want to do. 100%.
Yeah, fuck it. You got our support.
For sure. And then we got a new puppy.
I saw him when I walked in.
His name's Tito.
He's so cute.
We've been wanting to get my son a pet for his birthday. We got back from New York. The intention was supposed to be when we got back, we'd get him the puppy, but then we had COVID. That's another thing that happened. I got COVID finally after 2.5, almost 3 years. Finally happened. Got the COVIDs. We all survived. The whole house got it. We're all vaccinated. We all did good. And we made it through. But I didn't get to go get the puppy. So we didn't get to get it until this weekend finally.
Yeah.
And we took him to the rescue and we took him there to go see the little puppies that they had because they had these small, little, cute, adorable puppies. And he just couldn't make a decision between them. Like he felt guilty choosing one over the other. And like he got really emotional and sad about it. And
because he didn't want to like separate the brothers or the sisters or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't even think if it was that. I didn't even think of that, and that's possibly it. I think he just didn't want to say no to either. So then the lady comes out with Tito, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't consider him because I knew you're looking for a puppy. He's 12 months, so he's still young, and he's just so cute and so chill." And he took to him immediately. He's like, "Yeah, I like this one."
He's so cute and very friendly. Like he was like, as soon as I walked in, he's like, "Hey, sup?" And I was like, "Who's that?" Hi.
Yeah. And they've taken to each other quickly. He's already got separation anxiety from Julian. Like when I take him to school in the morning, he comes with us in the car. And as soon as he gets out of the car, he's like at the window.
Oh.
And my son, for the past, I don't know, when he was younger, he used to have no problem sleeping alone. But for the last few years, he cannot sleep alone. And one of us always has to sleep with him. He slept alone for the first time.
It was a puppy
with
snuggle
the dog
in the
bed.
That's why.
Because I said, the lady told us that he likes to sleep in the bed, but I was like, I don't want him in my bed, but he can sleep in your bed if you want, but you're going to be in here. And he stayed in bed.
That's good.
The last 2 nights they've slept.
Aww.
Mm-hmm. So it's going
besties.
Good. Yeah, he already has a new bestie. I should share a picture of Tito. I'll share a picture.
Yeah.
On our socials.
He's cute. He's gonna get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
But your other dog, Jack, got a lot of attention with his costume.
Oh my God. He got like 7 votes between 7 people voted for him between 2 categories. He got like 4 votes and like funniest and like 3 votes and most original.
Well, every time he walked by, so he had like a little cowboy on he was dressed up as a little horse, right? Like a little cowboy.
He basically had a cowboy on his back.
He had a cowboy on his back. And every time he would pass by, we would all like look at Jack and laugh. Like, oh, it's so funny. He's like, moseying on and down.
By the end of the night, his hat fell off and his handkerchief fell off the cowboy. It's much funnier with the hat because when he moves, it's like
looks like he's like going. Yeah.
quite entertaining.
It's funny.
All right.
A
We ready?
segment you guys probably missed, but we're back with it. News Nugs.
Where we get high and read the news to you. All right. So we're following up on a story that we followed last season a lot, which is Griner's denied appeal. Drug conviction upheld by the Russian court. So a Russian court on Tuesday, October 25th, denied Brittany Griner's appeal, upholding the American basketball player's 9-year sentence on drug charges. She received that sentence in August, like we previously reported, and has been in Russian custody since she was arrested at Moscow in the airport in February. Her lawyers say, "We are very disappointed," in a statement that they quoted to the New York Times after the court upheld the conviction on Tuesday. The verdict contains numerous defects, and we hoped that the Court of Appeal would take them into consideration.
Griner's now set to begin serving her sentence, although it will be slightly reduced, according to the Associated Press. The Moscow Region Court said in its ruling on Tuesday that the time Griner will have to serve in prison will be recalculated with her time in pretrial detention taken into account. AP reported that 1 day in pretrial detention will be counted as 1.5 days in prison. So the basketball star will have to serve around 8 years in prison.
It's still way too fucking long. She should be
crazy.
home.
Yeah.
And we actually talk about this a little bit with Stephanie in the interview later.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is just insane. She's
yeah,
just
it's a lot of
used
time.
as a political tool over there. It's just insane.
Yeah.
The other big story that happened during our break that, broke the cannabis internet for a little bit.
Yeah.
In a historic move, Biden announces he will pardon thousands of federal cannabis offenses. October 6th, President Joe Biden announced that he will pardon people with federal convictions for simple possession of cannabis. Going further, he announced that he will direct the U.S. Attorney General Merrick B. Garland and Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services Xavier Becerra to begin the process of reviewing the classification of cannabis at the federal level. The official White House statement was published on October 6th, noting that under federal law, cannabis falls under Schedule 1 alongside deadly drugs like fentanyl. The White House will review exponentially the plant's current classification. The New York Times reports that the move will affect upwards of around 6,500 people who were convicted on federal charges for simple possession of cannabis during the time period of 1992 to 2021, and 1,000 more convictions based in the District of Columbia.
As I said before, no one should be in jail for just using or possessing marijuana. Biden tweeted, "Today I'm taking steps to end our failed approach. Allow me to lay them out." Biden then provided 3 key points: pardoning all prior federal offenses of simple marijuana possession, calling on governors to pardon simple state marijuana possession offenses, and finally, asking Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. Did we say this?
Yeah, they're repeating it.
Okay, well, we're reviewing how cannabis should be scheduled under the federal law. Normal leaders were cautiously optimistic, noting that efforts to get the attention of the White House for real cannabis reform at the federal level have been going on for decades.
Many of the efforts taken and proposed by the president today are long overdue, Normal Executive Director Eric Altieri said in a statement provided to High Times. For nearly 2 years, Normal has called upon the administration to fulfill the president's campaign promise to provide relief to those stigmatized with a low-level cannabis conviction. We are pleased that today President Biden is following through on this pledge and that he is also encouraging governors to take similar steps to ensure that the tens of millions of Americans with state-level convictions for past marijuana crimes can finally move forward with their lives. Since 1965, nearly 29 million Americans have been arrested for marijuana-related violations for activities that the majority of voters no longer believe ought to be a crime. Moving forward, the administration must work collaboratively with congressional leadership to repeal America's failed marijuana criminalization laws. Nearly half of voters now agree that legalizing marijuana ought to be a priority for Congress, and such action can only be taken by descheduling cannabis and repealing it from the U.S. Controlled Substances Act, thereby regulating it in a manner similar to alcohol. Congress should be inspired by the administration's actions today to act quickly and hide legislation to the president's desk. To send legislation to the president's desk that would help close this dark chapter of our history.
Leaders in Congress, notably members of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, applauded the move. The office of Congressman Earl Blumenauer, founder and co-chair of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, also sent High Times his official statement on the matter. Today, President Biden took an important step in the fight to end federal government's failed and discriminatory prohibition of cannabis, said Congressman Blumenauer. No president has stepped forward to pardon low-level marijuana offenders at this scale before. At a time when 99% of Americans live in a state where some form of cannabis use is legal, it is unthinkable that anyone, especially predominantly Black, Latinx, and Indigenous Americans, are imprisoned for simple, nonviolent cannabis possessions. Especially when there's a lot of white people making money.
We talk about that with Stephanie too.
We do. There's a critical, important step forward for racial justice in the failed war on drugs that too often targeted people of color, especially Black and Latino men. While this order is welcome and long overdue, it is just the first step of many that this administration should take.
Congressman Blumenauer continued, we have been pending legislation that deals with medical marijuana research and the ability for cannabis businesses to access banking services, both of which have gained support in the House and Senate. The president should embrace and celebrate. It is critical that we pull the force of the federal government behind them. There was a time when this was controversial. Congressman Blumenauer added, I can't say this guy's name. Yet for several years,
I feel there should be like an H.
Blumenauer.
I feel like it should be Blumenauer, but it's not.
Blumenauer.
It's skipping the H. Blumenauer.
Yet for several years, the federal government has been left behind by people in states who did not wait. Not only does more than 2/3 of the public support full legalization, even half of American Republicans are also ready to end this chapter of failed war on drugs. We welcome this action and hope it's the first of several non-controversial critical steps to promote justice, equity, and rational policy.
Because, you know, as soon as we celebrated a little bit, everybody was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Everybody was like,
it's good first steps.
Right. And I could see why people are like, oh, it's politically
nobody's
motivated.
done it before, but nobody's done it before.
Right. But it's kind of
nobody got out of prison.
That he does it now too. I get it.
Of course.
I mean,
you're supposed to fulfill some promises when you're trying to get reelected.
Something. Try to act
He's
on
been making
some
moves.
of the things.
He's been making moves and a lot of things.
To the chair and back to his walker. Yeah, is this me? U.S. Cannabis Council.
This is you.
USCC CEO Khadija Tribble also chimed in, saying that Biden's statement aligns with many of the council's goals. President Biden is right. No one should be in jail for just using or possessing cannabis. This executive action will positively impact countless Americans who have been saddled with criminal histories and unjust suffering and consequences of cannabis prohibition. This is a particularly cathartic moment for Black and Brown communities that have been disproportionately impacted by the criminalization of cannabis. We commend the president for making good on his campaign promise to grant pardons to nonviolent cannabis offenders. This announcement comes on the heels of the Biden administration appointing the first advisor on cannabis research and regulation at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and further reinforces the fact that just a question of whether not of when, not if, cannabis is decriminalized altogether.
As a nation reckons with the wrongs of the past, it's also time to look to the future. The Senate should pass the Safe Banking Act to help ensure that the communities most impacted by cannabis prohibition can safely and gainfully participate in the burgeoning cannabis industry, Tribble said. The Justice Department will begin the process of providing certificates of pardons to people who are eligible, USA Today reports. So, yeah. That's what happened. So we talk about this with Stephanie in the interview later. So you're definitely going to want to listen to that. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done in this.
Yeah, even a lot of people showed up to the White House recently to protest and to ask that he do a little more than just just this.
And it does help the people with the simple possession at least get it off their record so that they're no longer being hindered like housing or credit or
Yeah,
a
it really
job or whatever for
it
having that on their record.
yeah, it really, really, really affects
I don't
you.
even when I see it, when I do background checks in HR, I'm like,
Yeah,
it's
of
just
course you
weed.
do. Because out of all people, you'd be like, yeah, okay, and we didn't see that. We didn't see that weed thing there. Moving along. Because it's just so silly. And then also your talent pool is so small already. You don't want to like continue to put, I mean, like, please. Seriously, this shouldn't even be a question. Like drug test, I will never.
They just need to remove cannabis from the drug.
They
One of
just
our friends
do.
was at the party that we haven't seen in forever because he just moved back to living down here. Couldn't smoke because he's about to take a drug test for a job.
Oh
And
man,
he's like, I need to come back because we had the student glass
Oh,
out. We were
yeah.
smoking J's all night. He's
Yeah.
like, damn it.
I know. We had people were like people who don't smoke anymore came up to the student class like, hey, how does
I
this
wanna
work?
try
And
this
we're
thing
like,
out.
oh yeah, we got you, fam. And we're like, come on. Somebody was like, I was like, I already got weed in my grinder. Let's go. Let's do it.
It was fun. It was a good time. But speaking of elections, midterm election day is upon us, coming up on Tuesday, the 8th, November 8th, I believe. And 5 states have recreational cannabis on their ballots.
Yo, and we're gonna tell you
All about it.
All about it.
So there's Arkansas, Maryland, Missouri, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So this is a great resource to go and find information, which is cannabisvoter.info. Here you can see what all your local representatives and your senators where they stand on cannabis. This is the website. If you're a patron, you can see the screen right now. You could actually select your state and it takes you right there. Here on the side, we have the example of Florida. I only snipped the top of it. They list all the representatives and the senators. And if you click see more, you can see where they stand on every part of cannabis. Like the first one, it shows you whether or not they support federal legalization.
Yeah.
I know, Matt Gaetz.
I was gonna say, who approved? Oh, that guy. God, Matt Gaetz. Okay.
Most of all of our Democrat representatives in the state support all of it. So if you click see more, it gives you more than just federal legalization. Do they support medical? Do they support banking for cannabis? Do they support this? Blah, 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 blah. And so some may have like a couple that they support, others have none, and others they support it all. So this is a great place to go see where all your people in your state stand on cannabis before you go to the polls and you make your decisions. And then the other thing that I wanted to go over was those few states that have it. So the first one here.
Oh, hold on. Did I
Arkansas.
Sorry. There you go. Got it back up there.
All right. You want to?
Yeah.
We'll alternate bullets.
All right.
I'll do the first stop and the first bullet, and then we'll alternate bullets. So Arkansas is called issue number 4. Will appear on the ballot in Arkansas, and if approved, it will do the following: legalize the possession up to 1 ounce and use of cannabis for persons 21 and older.
Enact a 10% tax on cannabis sales with 15% of that revenue funding on annual stipends for law enforcement officers who are in good standing.
Authorize all existing medical cannabis dispensaries to sell adult use cannabis at their current locations and allow them to establish 1 additional location. Oh.
Create 40 additional adult use cannabis retail licenses, which will be awarded via a lottery system.
Issue 4 does not address expungement. This is a problem. Does not address expungement, resentencing, or any other forms of record cleaning and retroactive relief for people who have been convicted of cannabis offenses.
See, that's such an issue for me. And it really bothers me that a lot of people are so bent on trying to make it recreational, but nobody's really saying anything in regards to changing, like letting people clean their records.
It shouldn't stop them from making it go legal, because then it's going to keep more people from getting jailed or in trouble going forward. But they need to go back to resentencing. They need to do expungements. So there's still work to do in Arkansas if they get their recreational. They still need to keep pushing for those reforms.
Keep pushing me. Keep pushing me.
So next is Maryland. Maryland is question 4 will appear on the ballot. And if it's approved, it will legalize the possession of up to 1.5 ounces and use of marijuana for persons 21 and older beginning on July 1st, 2023.
Decriminalize the possession up to 2.5 ounces and use of marijuana for persons 21 and older.
Automatically expunge convictions, yay, for conduct that would have been legal under the new law. Individuals currently serving time for now legal conduct would be able to apply for resentencing. See?
Yeah. But this is my thing, though. Cause and effect, it's hard to go back and change things. Why? If Maryland, okay, first of all, if you're in Maryland, you better fucking vote this shit, okay? You better vote on this shit, and you better
Question 4, bro.
Question 4. But if they can do it, why can't anybody else do it? If this is appearing that way on their ballot, why can't we just copy this shit? You know what I'm saying? Anyways,
every state has their own politics. People are very different in different territories.
God, yeah, but I feel like it needs to be
the other one was Arkansas, bro. We can't compare Arkansas to Maryland.
The measure does not. This is my next one. The measure does not address licensing, regulation, or taxation for adult use cannabis market. So that would need to be sorted out by the legislature if it passes.
Yeah, so they don't go into the specifics of how the licensing, regulation, all that stuff's going to work. So they would, the lawmakers would come up with
but
that
at least, hey,
after.
but at least this is a good move.
Yeah, the automatic.
This is a fantastic move. This way, people
and resentencing.
I don't understand why it's an order of things. I don't understand why that's not the order that it. But anyways,
Missouri Amendment 3, if approved, will legalize the possession, use, and purchases of cannabis up to 3 ounces for persons 21 and older.
Allow persons with certain nonviolent cannabis-related offenses to petition for release from incarceration, parole, and probation, and to have their records expunged.
Enact a 6% tax on retail cannabis sales.
Allow existing medical cannabis businesses to apply for comprehensive licenses to participate in the recreational program. These businesses will have the first access to comprehensive licenses, and there's no guarantee that additional comprehensive licenses will be awarded.
Create a system for awarding micro business licenses for smaller scale cannabis businesses.
Allow persons over the age of 21 to grow a limited amount of cannabis plants at home with a state-issued registration card.
Oh, yeah. None of the other ones said anything about home grow.
A home grow. Look at that. Missouri. All right. You gotta.
Missouri has all the things going there.
Yeah.
Seems
nice.
Next, we have North Dakota. Statutory measure number 2, if approved, legalize the possession, use, and purchase of cannabis up to 1 ounce for persons 21 and older.
Allow persons to grow up to 3 cannabis plants at home.
Direct the state to establish a regulatory system for recreational cannabis sales by October 1st, 2023.
Allow the state to license up to 7 cultivation facilities and 18 recreational cannabis retailers.
Statutory measure 2 does not address expungement, resentencing, or any other forms of record cleaning and retroactive relief for people who have been convicted of cannabis offenses. Word. I love that they specifically point that out.
Yeah, and this is all on the Cannabis Voter Project website.
I got all this straight from there.
Fantastic.
So the next one we have is South Dakota, and that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn they already passed something on a measure and it got like overturned. And this is them doing it again.
I'm not sure. South Dakota does sound like we've talked about them before.
Yeah, I think they're the ones that the
people were like,
they voted for
no,
it.
You guys are
and
wrong.
Then the legislature like said, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
and they like found a way to overturn it. So initiated measure 27, if it's approved, it would legalize the possession and use of cannabis up to 1 ounce of flower and 8 grams of concentrate. Very specific. For persons 21 and older.
Allow persons 21 and older to grow 3 cannabis plants at home.
Initiated measure 27 does not create a regulatory framework for recreational cannabis sales, so that would need to be handled by the state legislature.
Initiated measure 22 does not address expungement, resentencing, or any other forms of record clearing and retroactive relief for people who have been convicted of cannabis offenses.
Boo. But they're still going for recreational. Look, and I know you're like, you don't have to change this law to enact another law that now expunges. You can work a totally separate. It's just the money and the resources and the time that you're going to have to put towards continuing to fight.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to already get these things on the ballot to begin with.
A lot, as we learned in our previous interviews, at least in the state of Florida. I know every state
But
has
I
their
mean,
own.
I just feel like how can the government, right, okay this and then like not address that?
I know it doesn't make any sense.
Like you can't have one without the other, bro. Like it just, to me, if you are going to make it legal and even if it's medical, the government needs to step in and say, okay, people voted for it to be medical. We now need to go in there, and if they want it medical, we need to fix everybody's shit and like stop wasting our time chasing after people who are like who have cannabis.
They make their money off the prisoners.
Yeah, no. I mean, like
That's a whole other thing.
every morning I wake up and I smell the scam in the air. You know what I mean? Every morning I'm like I'm reminded, like, this is all a game that you're playing, essentially.
Yeah.
Every fucking day.
Well, everybody's favorite segment, or at least everybody's favorite intro,
yeah.
right?
Oh, I'm ready for this one.
I love you, Miami.
Rang, kang, 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 kang. Bro, when this popped up on my feed and
I couldn't believe it.
And when this popped up on my feed on social media, I was like, shut the fuck up.
So we got a story saying, hey, Circle K is going to be selling weed in their gas stations. And we were very confused by this story because it's only medical here. And it was specifically only for Florida.
Right.
And we were like, how does that make sense? How is a gas station going to be connected to the OMMU? How are they going to dispense? Like, how is that going to work?
Well, like I from the get, I was like,
that's weird.
When you go to gas stations, sometimes they have like extra space and they have people in there doing their business. Like the best example I could say is like a bakery, like a Cuban bakery being
or
inside
Dunkin'
of
Donuts inside of a gas station.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, well,
there'll be a little dispensary inside the gas station.
Right. It could work. I'm not saying, but I was just like,
it's weird.
Again, we go to that place where it's like we want to destigmatize it, right? And I feel like this is a good way of destigmatizing it. But again, we go back to like, there's still people in jail for this stuff. And here we are trying to sell it in a fucking gas station. Like, it's a little insulting.
It's not even recreational, and we're trying to sell it.
Right. That's a little bit of an insult. It's kind of like they're overstepping their boundaries.
It's like a gas station that would have a pharmacy in it, basically.
Right. And then...
So then now this is the story we're covering. It says Florida pumps the brakes on Circle K's medical marijuana deal.
They would, because what the hell?
This is on Leafly, which was soon as like that was just like what the next day or this
right.
The
like we were laughing about it for like we were laughing about this headline for like 2 days, and then boom, like everybody was like, wait a minute, never mind.
So when this story came out, it said last week Circle K announced a huge step in the mainstreaming of marijuana. 10 Rise Express dispensaries are reportedly setting up shop inside Circle K stores across Florida as early as next year. It's a poetic turn for stoners nationwide, many of whom have scored illegally from some dude or dudette at their local gas station for years, which I did when I was in New York. I went to a 7-Eleven to meet somebody up. The state's Department of Health has not given any regulatory approval to the announced partnership. They announced this shit and it's not even approved.
Yeah, kind of a problem there. Like, why are you announcing? This is one thing I hate about the cannabis industry.
They're trying to get publicity buzz.
People
to push
talk a lot,
through.
but people talk a lot about their plans without doing the plan. And I get so fucking heated.
It was a publicity stunt to push it help push it through for sure. I think.
Okay, but chill out.
They do that. People do that all the time.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating because everybody likes to talk before they do shit, and then they end up having to eat their words. As such, this week, health department officials told the Washington Examiner that the state has not yet approved the details that Circle K and Rise disclosed in their announcement. Florida has never approved a medical marijuana treatment center to operate out of a gas station. A spokesperson from the Department of Health told the Washington Examiner after the reported deal went viral last week. The DOH representative added, the opening of Rise Express stores remains subject to regulatory approval and sales will be exclusively to Florida patients with a valid medical marijuana identification card.
Obviously, they would have to be.
Yeah. DOH officials say they have not signed off on any plans that would allow medical cannabis to be sold at gas stations. And people approach me like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, you know
And
how
I
many
was
people
like,
sent me that story too?
I was like, is this great? Really? Is it? Because too, right?
It's normalizing. I don't think it's a bad
It's
thing.
kind of normalizing it, but girl, we were just talking about like, oh, you shouldn't trust CBD that's sold at the gas station. We're gonna be like, oh, but the weed, it's fine. Go to the gas station and buy your weed there.
It's sold by an actual legit dispensary that's regulated and all that.
It's not like Pepito Perez CBD Incorporated, you know? Yeah, I know.
So according to release from Coochie Tard.
What? Coochie Tard? Cooch Tard?
Cooch Tard? How do you say this name? Spelled COUCHE. Couche. Tard.
Canadian
Tard.
company.
TARD. What? Couche Tard.
Yeah.
The Canadian company that owns Circle K. The proposed deal would let Green Thumb Industries, GTI, owner of Rise dispensaries, own Rise Express locations adjacent to Circle K convenience stores and gas stations. So while the gas station wouldn't technically be selling cannabis inside the Circle K, the partnership would be another milestone for the entire legalization movement. The Circle K's parent company worked on a similar pilot program with a Canadian retailer, Fire and Flower, last year to launch pickup hubs across the country. In the States, the Atlantic Farms shop in Portland, Maine has a gas and grass cannabis, gas and grass cannabis convenience store. But that doesn't make the Circle K and Rise partnership any less historic if the companies can actually pull it off. Did they jump the gun by announcing without approval? Maybe. But even with regulators from the Sunshine State raining on their parade, the viral marketing push the announcement sparked is likely still worth the drama. Stay tuned. Strange things remain afoot at the Circle K.
Yeah, I mean, this is super convenient. Okay.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, and it's genius, right? Because here we are, you don't have to have a whole location. You have a small mini location and it's in a place that gets a good traffic. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that they're brilliant for thinking of this.
They still have to be a patient though.
Yeah. I mean, why don't they just lease another corner of the Circle K out to a doctor and fucking here we go.
Oh my God, Circle K, you can get certified and get your weed.
Here we go.
Oh my God,
you get all your gas in one stop.
The whole new meaning to getting gas at the gas station.
Yes.
All right. So we have our interview, right? That's it. This is the end of the show. We're coming to the interview.
Yes, and this is a really important interview. Stephanie tells us firsthand what it was like to be convicted of conspiracy to distribute 1,000 kilos plus of marijuana as a first-time nonviolent offender. She served 9 out of her 10 years in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and she is such a great resource. Here is someone who took their situation that was so shitty, but she used it, and she is now a huge resource for other people who are stuck in the same situation she was stuck in. So it's so beautiful to see her
paying it forward.
It is
help
so
those.
inspiring.
She knows what they're going through.
Yeah, who better to know what they're going through than someone who lived it firsthand, you know? So please enjoy this interview. We sure did. A lot of information. Here's Stephanie Shepard with Last Prisoner Project. We hope you enjoy it.
Stephanie, we're so glad you're here.
Hi.
Thank you so much for
Finally.
coming on the show. Yes, we've been trying to get somebody from Last Prisoner Project on the show to talk to us about your organization and what we can do, because we're really passionate of getting the message out about nonviolent cannabis offenses and getting those people out of prison. So we're excited to finally have you here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
get a
it's
little
not
bit-
it's not a lot of us. Like people think we're this big, huge organization and we're really not. So it's probably
we get it.
difficult to get people on. But I'm a big fan of you guys, so I definitely want to come on.
Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Well, first, let's get some background about you. How did cannabis come into your life? What was your first experience with cannabis?
My first experience with cannabis was being young, being the youngest of 7. I had older brothers, so they always had like the cigar box under the bed with some zigzags in it and some little seeds. And I didn't really know what it was. I knew it was something they weren't supposed to have, but that was when I was much younger, and it wasn't something that was normalized in our family. With our parents or anything like that. So I didn't consume till I was 28 years old.
Wow. That's
that's like not the usual story we have on our show. Everybody's usually like, well, it started when I was too early to start, but
yeah, I started young. She started at
I
a decent
started
age.
like 18, whatever, college. But
I just felt like it just wasn't my thing. But then when I tried it, I was like, where have you been all my life?
Mhm. That's usually
It
the
just
reaction
changed
of
everything.
later
people who use it later, yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, why didn't I start this sooner? And then the other people were like, I started this a little too soon.
So you're from California, but you moved over to New York from there, where you started your real estate career. Is that where you got, what was it, a conspiracy to distribute for 1,000 kilos? Is that where it happened in the state of New York?
It was. I was living in Williamsburg, Brooklyn at the time, and I had my real estate career going, but apparently, also selling some weed on the side.
Some weed.
Yeah, I didn't ever really think that it was a bad thing. I knew it was illegal, but I never really felt like cannabis was bad.
Mhm.
So I thought, what's the worst that could happen? Well, they showed me the worst that could happen. And the worst that could happen was a first time nonviolent mandatory minimum of 10 years.
Wow. Now, how did you go from starting to use cannabis only at 28 years old to allegedly being guilty of this crime?
Yeah, we could say convicted of this crime now at this point. Like a lot of women that I met along the way, there was a man involved. And long story short, he was arrested. And 6 months later, I got a phone call from his attorney asking if I would come down and talk to him because he wasn't in good health. So I kind of went, we were broken up for years at this point, like maybe 2 or 3 years at this point. So I was really kind of going to just be a little bit nosy. I knew he had a new girlfriend. I wanted to see what was going on. So I went down and I spoke to the lawyer, and I knew he had a bad heart. And he said, if I can get him on medical bond, can you provide him a place to stay while he gets healthy for sentencing? And I said yes. So I went into the courtroom. I spoke to the judge. The judge said, I find this young lady responsible and credible, and I'm going to recommend he be released into her custody. And this is 6 months after he was arrested. They never came for me. They never called for me. They knew about me, but they just had no interest until I walked in the courtroom that day. And that judge said what he said. And an hour later, I got off the train my text popped up and it was the attorney saying they're going to fight it. They say you're involved. So at the end of the week, I was getting dressed to go pick him up. It was on a Friday, and my buzzer rang. And I looked at the screen, and it was a guy in an ICE jacket and a DEA jacket. And I said, hello. And they said, we're looking for Stephanie Shepard. We have a warrant for her arrest. And at that point, what was I to do? So I buzzed him up, got arrested, spent a year on pretrial. So that was a very tough year because you're at the mercy. At this point, I'm doing random drug testing, check-ins, worried about how the outcome of this is going to be. And after a year of doing that, I went to trial, had a week's trial. About 45 minutes after deliberating on a Friday at 2:00, they decided that they weren't coming back on Monday, and I was found guilty and remanded from the courtroom that day. I never went home again.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And you were sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. And how many of those years did you serve in federal prison?
9.
9?
And I took a program that I was determined I would never take. I told myself through my entire sentence that I was being labeled as a drug dealer. And now to get a year off, you want me to label myself as a drug addict as well and take the RDAP program, which is the residential drug abuse program. They get more per inmate when you do that program. So I always said no. If I can do 8 years, I can do 10 years. My dad got sick. And when my dad got sick, it wasn't about me or my ego. It was about getting home as quickly as possible. And if that meant saying, hey, because I consume cannabis, I'm labeled a drug dealer, I'll do it. Where do I sign up? And unfortunately, I did not make it into the program in time. My dad had already passed away before I entered the program. But by that time, I was so done with the system. I was so done with the system that I just went ahead and did the program and got that year off. So I did get home a little bit early.
Oh my God, but 10 years is such an insane amount of time.
And especially for no prior, like you had no other prior run-ins with the law, no other arrests, no previous history to, I mean, how much time did the gentleman get?
As I understand, he got probably 15, but he's out now. So he got off a little bit early as well.
Damn, 15 years.
So in order for you to
true.
get out that year early, you basically had to say, I'm an addict of cannabis and go through a program. And now you're out on probation, right?
On top of the 10-year sentence, I also got a 5-year probation, which I'm 3 years into that. I got out in 2019. And so I'm still under the thumb.
Oh my goodness. That's hard. Being under probation is very difficult. And you're not able to consume cannabis at all.
No.
Currently.
No, the one thing that could actually help me in the most anxiety-ridden time, which is re-entering and coming back after doing that time in prison and reconnecting with your family and your friends,
Yeah.
It's stressful. And the one thing that could maybe take some of that stress away, I don't have that privilege.
I'm sure PTSD from being in prison.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things that it could be. And you're currently in Sacramento. There's no way around it. There's no way to get like a medical because of the way that you did the program.
It's federal.
Yeah.
And
it's federal prison.
because it's a federal prison, and federal still is not recognized as legal. So Even though I could go, and see people purchasing many places within a few mile radius of my house.
Let me
I
ask
still
you.
don't have that.
Yeah, that's insane. And you know what I think is really crazy too? The fact that so many people are trying to push for just legalization in the sense of like recreational, make it recreational. But there's nobody out there doing any work to get people out, to make it federally legal. Like that's like this Biden thing that just happened. People got excited about it, but can you tell us what, because there's good and the bad. Like, yes, we're making progress, but he could have done more and he didn't. He fell short of what we were expecting him to do.
Big time. Yeah. Big time short. Like nobody got out of jail for what he did. Not one person.
Yeah, because no one was in jail for it.
Exactly.
So
it was very slick. I gotta say.
It was very, very slick. But there's definitely one group I know that's out there fighting against it and trying to work on it, and that is the Last Prisoner Project. And when I was incarcerated, I didn't know of anything or anybody or any organizations out there trying to fight for us incarcerated people, for cannabis. So I just thought, I'm just going to do this time. So when I got out, Last Prisoner Project was just getting started, just getting off the ground. And I went to one of their first fundraisers with another young lady who I was incarcerated with, who was also in there for cannabis. And she was speaking at this event, and I was able, with my ankle monitor, to head down to San Francisco and listen to her and watch just the reaction that sharing your story can get from other people, and how much people don't know about what's going on, and the tens of thousands of people that are incarcerated for cannabis while this industry is growing and booming. But the people who are incarcerated, if we're going to be honest, don't look like the people that it's booming for. And so through utilizing Last Prisoner Project's platform and just taking any opportunity to share my story, in hopes that maybe it'll change the minds of maybe what a cannabis prisoner looks like, or what a prisoner looks like, or just trying to do something. And I got with Last Prisoner Project, and I was able to find that niche for me that made me feel fulfilled right now, and happy about the work that I do and that we do as an organization.
Can you tell us a little bit about like what we can do, like our audience, like how can we help Last Prisoner Project? What programs are there that we can get involved in? We would love to do like a little fundraiser for you guys as well. With the holidays coming up, I'm sure there's things that you guys have going for prisoners that are currently incarcerated. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We do. We have given out over $2 million in direct funding to those impacted, their families, through their commissary accounts. The children of incarcerated cannabis prisoners can receive help from Last Prisoner Project, or the caretaker of a child of a parent who's incarcerated. So a lot of the ways that we partner with people, we partner with brands, we partner with dispensaries. We have in dispensaries something, if you've ever gone into a dispensary, maybe you've been asked, like, do you want to donate to help cannabis prisoners? It's a program called Roll It Up for Justice. And you can donate $1 or $4.20 at the end of your purchase. But before you get to that point, we try to provide people with materials that, while they're standing in line, not realizing this great privilege they have, that they're about to purchase some fire and go home and consume, and are not concerned about being incarcerated for it. We try to provide dispensaries with materials to educate. And I mean, the donations are great. It's what helped run any org. But that education piece so that when people go to the polls, they can make an educated decision. They know that just because they have this privilege, that privilege has not been expanded to everyone. So it's important to talk about Kevin Allen, who's doing life in prison for $20 worth of cannabis without the possibility of parole. He could have killed someone and at least got the possibility of parole. But because it was his third nonviolent strike, they want to keep him incarcerated for the rest of his life. And that is something I accept my sentence. People sometimes ask me, are you bitter? Are you mad when you see what the industry? No, I was convicted of doing something that was illegal and I accepted the consequences. I did not cooperate like everybody else in my case, pretty much everybody else in my case. So being able to now look at it and say, that was fine for me, but what about now? Like, I can't stand it now. When you go to a Hall of Flowers or you go to any of these big cannabis events and you see what's going on and you see how the industry is booming, which I love. I think it's great, but we can't forget those people who this legal industry was built off of.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there wouldn't be
So
an industry if it wasn't for all the people that were in the legacy
Yeah.
market bringing the plant to the people.
Right.
There's a demand for it. People wanted it, you know, and now people are making
For
millions
ages.
of dollars for the same thing. Exactly. And it's
and a
it's
lot of the
plant, it's help
people and a
people.
lot of the people that are making that money today, they did it back then.
Mm-hmm.
Their legacy to legal, which is awesome, but why were you not incarcerated? Like, you have to stop and recognize that and just do what you can to get back. So we have different ways. We have a take action page on our website. You can go to lastprisonerproject.org and there's a take action page. We have petitions, we have campaigns that we're working on. We have just different ways that you can donate. We have peer-to-peer campaigns. But really just keeping these conversations going, participating in our letter writing program. We have a letter writing program that has really grown in the last couple of years from where we started, because getting that contact from the outside is important. And most people, when they go to prison, they have, you know, maybe a little support at the beginning, but you lose people year after year. They start to forget about you. And the one thing that I don't want to happen is I don't want these prisoners to be forgotten. I want them to know what I didn't know. And that's that there's somebody out there coming for you. There's somebody out there fighting for you. If you were on a desert island, would you rather never get that, you know, letter in a bottle saying, hey, we're coming? Or would you like to get a letter every day saying, hey, this is happening, this is what we're working on, but we are coming?
Yeah.
And that's really what the letter writing program is all about, just building that connection, because without them, there would be no legal market. And we know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's infuriating too because of the way that the licenses are given. You see, like you said, you see the people behind these businesses and they don't look like us, you know, they don't sound like us. And they're the ones that have the stronghold on everybody else in the communities that have been affected the most by the war on drugs. So it's like we want to get into a place where, yeah, sure, it's recreational, but we want everybody having an equal opportunity to get this. It's not fair that there's been people behind the scenes, you know, like you said, getting put in jail when there's people out there doing the exact same thing and just getting away with it and then just, you know, making buku bucks off of it. It's very infuriating.
Sometimes people tell me, well, I had a good lawyer. I've heard so many times from people who are like, oh, I've been arrested 10 times. I've been arrested 15 times. Really? And why do you think you never went to prison? Oh, I had a good lawyer.
Mm.
Really? Really? Is that it? And when I know that people, it's not connecting with them, there's nothing I can say. In their head, they had a good lawyer, and that's why. But statistics show why you didn't get arrested.
Right.
And it shows that we are 4 to 5 times more likely than white people to be arrested
Yeah.
and get a long sentence, get a lengthy sentence. I never met anybody incarcerated in prison for cannabis that wasn't Black or brown. I know there are some. We have constituents, but I'm just saying on the larger scale, if you look at the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's crazy too. And rape cases, people get off so easy as well. And it's
You
just
can
like
rape, you can molest, you can do all these things, but forbid that you sold a plant to other individuals that
help them.
That help them.
And it's the 2 dime bags for me with the Kevin Allen.
Yeah,
that's not even a full. Is that even a full blunt? That's not even a full blunt.
It's a
Not these
look
days.
at. I mean, obviously, this is outside the state of. We're talking obviously United States, but look at Brittany Griner over in Russia. That she's being used as a political tool right now. You know, she just lost her appeal, and she's going to be stuck over there for 9 years.
Yeah.
For a little vape pen,
a shitty vape pen, probably terrible vape pen.
For a cart.
Yeah.
But I find it so interesting that President Biden, thank God that he's trying to help and trying to get her home. But why her and not the tens of thousands that are here
within
in
your
our
own country? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And we don't want to
hypocrisy.
Yeah, we don't want to use her as an example either, but
we want to help her too.
Right, we want to help her too, but it's just the hypocrisy. Here. It's the hypocrisy for me.
Mm-hmm.
It should be all encompassing. He should take that same grace that he wants to show Brittany Griner and just apply that to the tens of thousands, the fathers, the mothers, the daughters that are incarcerated for cannabis right now. So when he made his announcement, I already knew from the wording, and I actually saw a post that you guys did, and it was super on point. Basically, it's like, hold on, like, wait a minute, don't get too excited.
Right.
And it was a task trying to get the message out. Like, it's great. We are glad that this conversation has started. But once people started to see that no one was released behind this action, then it started to set in. Oh, okay.
It was slick. He was like, "Oh, small cannabis possessions,
right?
Federal. There's nobody in federal prison
and then just bring it up that we're trying to get it
and urging. I mean, there's people in probably state prisons for small possessions in certain states urging state officials to do the same. We'll see, but. Yes,
that's like a cop out.
The most important thing that he did out of it was the whole trying to get it descheduled, having it reevaluated to be descheduled. That is
and the nod to the governors as well.
Yeah,
is a good thing, and the fact that, you know, doing this job and taking on this mission, it's kind of like you have to take the small wins, or else you will get so defeated. You will feel so insignificant if you don't accept progress, and progress comes in many steps, and it was talked about. No other president has stood up there and talked about it and said, hey, we need to do something. I just want that same grace shown to the seller as the buyer. So I definitely felt like it was, you know, a test. I'm hoping it was kind of a toe in the water. I know they're afraid. They think, what if all these people get out? What are they going to do? Are they going to run wild in the streets? And
but it's
I just
resources,
enjoy their lives. I mean,
but it's just such waste
of their families.
Yeah, it's just a waste of time.
And that's where the social equity programs should come into work. Like, hey, you were cultivating, you know, you have this experience in this. Yeah, we put you in prison away for that, but you know, maybe they can get into we're cultivating now in the legal industry, like move over to the legal market. There needs to be more social equity programs when we legalize.
We kind of stay in our lane when it comes to social equity. We want people home. We want people out. We want people to be able to re-enter society with pride but the whole like social equity thing is difficult, because if you've been in prison for any amount of time and you get out, the buy-in is too high. Even if they say, okay, we'll give you a license, where are you getting this money? How are you just going to come? And not only that, but the requirements, what you have had to have had prior, like it's very convoluted. But I know me, as someone who got out, I couldn't just start a business right away. I'm lucky I could even, purchase the basics. You're just getting out of prison, and prison is not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So any money you may have had going in, you're not going to have it coming out. So you are essentially starting your life over. So social equity is something that it's working out for some people, like Richard DeLisi, who's one of our constituents. He has a brand Delicioso right now.
Mm-hmm. He's from here.
There's opportunities. There's opportunities. Oh, if you've ever heard him talk, he's definitely from there.
They're from here. We've seen him at a ton of events we've gone to.
Yes, very, very great guy. And did a ton of time, like 30 years for cannabis is the most insane. But you're looking at people who are facing 60, 80 life sentences. We have several people serving life for the same thing that I could go if I were so inclined to purchase right now.
Yeah.
So it just baffles me. And that's just really why I do what I do. I know what it feels like to be sitting in there right now. Just a few short years ago, I was in that position. I know what they're eating on any given day. The menus don't change. And it's not something that I could just sit by and go, okay, well, I'm just going to go on with my life. Not when I have a platform and I have people like you guys who are willing to share your platforms and hopefully reach a listener who maybe can make a informed vote to legalize in their state. The more states, finally, federal is going to have to follow. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of just pushing and getting there. We actually had a civil disobedience rally in DC on Monday. M1, Redman, Steve D'Angelo, Richard DeLisi, they all went out there and, tried to make as much noise as possible to just say, like, keep your promise. You said no one should be that was the initial statement. No one should be incarcerated for cannabis. Keep that promise. Don't just try to slide by. So
let's do it. A lot of people talk in the industry and even in politics, but we want to see the action. We don't want to hear about it anymore. We want to see it happen.
We're tired.
Yes. I mean, the only thing with this test he has seen, the only criticism he received from this action was he did not do enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only criticism. So any thought that, people are not going to like it and they're not going to vote the correct way, do one good thing. And this could be that one good thing. But if this promise is not kept, I don't know. That's why we just have to stay bipartisan and take the help from either side. I don't care where it comes from, as long as they see what's true and what's fair and what's right. They can come from either side of the aisle. I'm cool with either one, as long as we get people like Parker Coleman and Michael Woods and Edwin Rubis home.
And that was our interview. You can connect with Stephanie on Instagram. She's at Steffi_Sheps, SHEPS. Website is www.lastprisonerproject.org or www.lastprisonerproject.org /take action. And also, she was telling us about the letter writing where you can write a letter to someone, which is really nice.
Maybe
Like
a
a lot
pen
of these
pal.
people, they're in there. A lot of their families start to drop off because, you know, it's like you don't see or hear them. So it's like you start to kind of forget them. So these people really enjoy getting letters. So /letter writing, lastprisonerproject.org /letter writing for that program. Get involved, you guys. You know, if you can't donate, it would be really nice
The
to
holidays
send a
are coming
letter.
up.
Yes.
They do things for a prisoner families. So they're in prison. They can't do much for their families on the outside, but they do gifts for their families. They, you know, give them food, things that they need. So help a prisoner out because apparently the states aren't really worried about them.
Yeah. And we gotta keep pushing the local governments to get on board with all of that. Hey, we appreciate your ears. Thank you so much for listening to our show and contributing any which way to the Pot Smoking Moms podcast. A big thank you to our patrons in the rotation and OG patrons. Special thank you to Yanni,
Destiny,
Lauren,
Jesse,
Christy,
Denise,
Peaches,
Natalie,
Angelina,
Jenny,
Catherine,
Jay,
Chrissy,
Guillermo,
Diane,
and Gabby.
Hey, you too can see our beautiful faces as fresh as before we actually air these episodes.
And these beautiful blonde locks.
Yeah, you look at these. Look at these. You love it. Become a patron if you can. Jump on board. Or you get early access to episodes, additional content, video and full versions of our interviews, Zoom smoke sessions, exclusive mom trips. Hey, you can come to our Halloween party.
Discounts to our events, the Bud Crawl. You'll be at our Halloween party with us.
Yeah.
If you're local, or you could fly in.
Or you could fly in on a one-day whim, you know? But we get discounts on events. Get a nice hefty discount on your Bud Crawl, on our Bud Crawl.
That's it. Thank you. Please subscribe, rate, review,
share our content, and just be general friends with us. PotSmokingMoms.com. We love you.
Bye.
Bye. Take us out, Jay.